Welcome, everyone, to week 12 in the Thriving in the New Normal series. We are so excited to have everybody back here. Today, we have a topic that has been near and dear to my heart ever since I got involved in the HVAC industry. In fact, this is the way that I did get my foot in the door, was going to work for a local HVAC contractor that wanted me to help them build an indoor air quality department. So we're going to talk about indoor air quality today. We're going to talk about how we can use this as a way to increase our customer lifetime value by expanding into new markets and being able to have a new set of solutions for customers, and talk about some of the things that we want to make sure we do every single time, and some of the things that maybe we want to look at differently through maybe a new set of lenses or a new perspective. If everybody could, please go ahead and make sure you have this phone number in your phone, 713-856-1853. As we go through various parts of this presentation, you will have the opportunity to be able to text one of these words to that number to get further information on the topics that we're covering, or if you just want to get involved with one of our coaches because you have a question that we did not address, they're available to be able to help and support you with everything that you need. Also, we have the Goodman Business Toolbox for you to go in and get resources and look at upcoming trainings, or the Amana Brand Business Academy, depending on which brand that you interact with. So far, we've covered a great deal of topics, and all of these topics are available in the Thriving in the New Normal channel that we have on the Goodman Business Toolbox or the Amana Brand Business Academy. You would go into there, click Dealer, then Training Resources. You'll see Thriving in the New Normal right up on the top. And all of the different programs that we've done in the past are available for you to go and view when you have time to look at these resources and see what we have available for you. We're going to continue talking about our customer for life and the Enneagram. Today we're going to talk about stances, but what I want to talk about is something that I've looked at for a long time in my career of being a business consultant and a coach to HVAC contractors, and even being in the role of a business owner myself. Herculitus probably said it best: the only constant in life is change. And in life, we're always in this constant flux of living, dying, and rebirth, if you would. It's these three things that we look at. And when we are going through that process, we talked about in episode 10 of the grieving process, when we're dying and we're going into a new stance or a part of that change that we're in, we have to understand how we grieve properly. And the Enneagram helps us understand which lenses that we look through in order to help us be able to navigate through that process. And so when we talk about thriving in the new normal, we need to understand that we are constantly in a flux. There's always a new normal coming. It's not something that happens one time or happens every generation. Our normal is always changing. It's always in a flux. And with that change, with that flux, comes conflict. And how we deal with that conflict is something that we have to understand in ourselves, and how other people deal with conflict. It's helpful for us to understand how they process information as well. So last week, we talked about the triads. We talked about how we make decisions, how we react to different situations. Some of us, it's more of an instinct, it's a gut thing. Some of us, it's that thinking and it's that doing, it's that reaction to those types of things. Others, it's more of a feeling, and it's a matter of the heart that and how we react to those situations. But then we layer on, and what we're talking about this week is stances. Some of us are very aggressive in our stances, and we're passionate about what we do. Some of us are more dependent, and we look for that affirmation from others that are around us, and then others withdraw and they avoid the situation altogether. When we take the three triads and we take the three stances, this gives us a set of 9 lenses in how we view and process the world. And I guess the one thing that I would love everybody to do is to take some time this week, understand the three triads, understand the three stances, and try to figure out which stance you think you're in most of the time and which of the triads you are. And we'll talk about the 9 different aspects of the Enneagram next week as we get into this. I don't want to take any more of your time. I want to get into this topic. I'm very excited about indoor air quality. and we're going to be talking about investigating, analyzing, and quoting. And one of the things that I've looked at in our HVAC industry, you guys are all professionals in this industry. And when we think about professionals, if I look at the medical profession, or I look at even lawyers with a lot of education and a lot of skill, they don't run contracting businesses where somebody tells them what to do. They actually run practices. So if you will, I want you to take your hat off as a contractor, and I want you to think about what it might be if I ran an HVAC practice. Could you imagine going to your doctor's office and you'd never met this doctor before? The doctor has not run a single test. And the doctor comes into your room and he says, I'm really excited. We've got this brand new chemotherapy treatment, and I want you to get you started on it right away. Here's the prescription, and here's how much it costs. How many of you would take that doctor's information that they gave you and say, this is exactly what I want to do. Thank you for making that recommendation. Sign up for it, pay your money out, and start that course of action. Yet how often do we as HVAC contractors go into a customer's home and we don't investigate what's going on with the house and what's going on with the customer themselves? We don't analyze and look at all of the different options that are available, and then we don't prescribe different courses of actions and tell them what those different outcomes are going to be. If we're going to run a professional HVAC practice, we have to think about the process that we engage with our customers, and this will open up new doors and opportunities for you that you will not believe. So I'm going to turn this thing over to Jeff. We're going to talk about the HVAC business practice. I will tell you all roads lead to indoor air quality in the HVAC engine. And so it's very exciting. Jeff, I'll turn things over to you.
It's great to be part of your all-star team here. There's a ton of talent on this call, so I'm glad to be a part of it. And I want to dovetail on your analogy because that's brilliant. Think about when you go into the doctor's office. They don't ask you if you want to do a funky test to get your blood pressure taken. They just say, we're going to do this. I need your arm, right? And they wrap that funny thing around your arm. They need the data to help the patient. They don't ask the patient, hey, would you like a blood pressure test? Because I need it to help you. It's done. The assumption is it's done proactively for patient care. And this is exactly how you use an AirAdvice monitor. You test because you know it's important to test, not because they asked for it. Hi, everybody. My name's Jeff. I'm with AirAdvice. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history of AirAdvice. It goes back to the late 90s when a man was trying to find a way to help his wife manage her severe asthma. She was having severe asthma attacks as a result of particulate matter and chemicals in the air. Those things couldn't be detected by sight or smell. And he wanted to develop an affordable method for tracking those things. And with the help of an engineer named Meinert Kleefstra, who's still with AirAdvice, by the way, they developed the first prototypes. She didn't make it. She died. And I'm just kidding. She didn't die. She's fine. She's alive and well. AirAdvice went on to do something very interesting that we've seen others try to do recently. They went to market direct to consumer. With the help of a local utility company, they did some testing and they heard two things. The first was the homeowners consistently liked the reports. They liked the information. It was presented in a way that they could understand it. And then they consistently heard a second thing. What do we do? And the answer that AirAdvice had was simply, I don't know. Let me get back to you on that. Because AirAdvice does not have the tools to control these pollutants, right? And that's when a big change was made and AirAdvice partnered with the HVAC industry. That was 20 years ago. And we're grateful to have a partner that in the HVAC industry that can address all the issues that are found in the home. You're looking at the evolution of the product line there. Most of the early Air Advice monitors are there. Data is so crucial to correctly finding out what the correct solution will be. It's not everything, but it's a big part of the puzzle. Next slide, please. So we know that 90% of homes have at least one issue. And you can see from this data set of over 50,000 homes that indoor air quality issues are common. There's an enormous opportunity out there to help your customers to improve their lives and improve your bottom line at the same time. Our solution is simple. Don't tell them, show them. The M5200 monitor that you see here has a built-in 4G cellular modem that connects to our servers automatically when it's powered. And the whole idea is for a technician to plug in as part of a routine appointment. An email is sent to that technician in 30 minutes so that that information can be shared with the homeowner on the spot. So Air Advice is not just a device, but a program. It's a method of testing homes as part of a regular routine every day. It's not just about helping sick people that call and ask for help. Here's a look at the flash report. This is our 30-minute report. The monitor measures the 6 parameters you see there. And it's really important to share with the homeowner that you're looking at third-party data, not something that the technician generated in the home. We don't know what you're going to find on a given house, but every time you plug in a monitor, you've earned yourself a conversation on every call. And that conversation is now data-driven. Next slide, please. When there's problems found in the house, a solutions page will appear automatically at the end of the report. And you can have multiple pages when there's multiple problems. The products are laid out in a best, better, good format. And you'll see all of the IAQ solutions from the Clean Comfort line included, including the page on the left there for every home. That page is static. It'll appear in every report, giving the technician something to discuss on every call. So what do we want as a result of plugging in a monitor? What are we expecting? There's some right off the truck sales that can occur of filtration upgrades, UV lights that go over the coil thermostats, also leads for the comfort advisor. Not every homeowner is going to buy an HRV on the spot, and that's okay. If you can tee it up to harvest that lead later, then that's a win. Ongoing marketing to the homeowner for anything they didn't buy on the spot is a win as well. You can go back to those leads later on when you have the time to deal with them. Here's some contractor feedback. I'm not going to read all of these, but I do want to share the one in the middle that's my favorite. It's always fun to hear about big numbers. It's also fun to hear about changing lives. That's something that happens inadvertently as Air Advice contractors pick up indoor air quality and routinely get better. But I really like the one that says we now convert IQ sales almost half the time using the Air Advice monitor. Prior to that, we didn't proactively sell any IQ. And that one's always been my favorite because it signifies a culture change at a company. So the Air Advice program involves unlimited reporting. Aside from the hardware and the reports, it involves training, coaching, support, and management tools like you see here, the dashboard, and the weekly reporting that goes out to managers. I think that's about all the time I have. I'll turn it back over to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jeff. I would encourage all of you to check out airadviceforhome.com. Reach out to Jeff if you want to jot down his phone number. If you want more information on how to get involved with Air Advice, we do have a special program available for Goodman and Amana dealers where you can get the equipment at a discounted rate. And we also have programs available that may help you be able to offset some of the costs of the system and to be able to use it. So please reach out to Jeff, talk to him, and he'll be more than happy to share more information with you on how you can get involved with Air Advice and start to be able to start your journey in the investigation process of what's going on in the home. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over now to John Ellis, and he's going to talk about analyzing the data. One of the biggest challenges we found was a lot of contractors understood the investigation process, and they also understood how to quote, but this analyzing of the data is kind of where all of the magic happens, where all the weird science is, and a lot of the confusion takes place. So John, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Great to be here. Thank you. Advice is just valuable to what we are trying to accomplish with our customers. I love the parallel that you've gone between a medical practice and having an HVAC practice. Is often coined, and that's prescription without diagnosis is malpractice. That's, you know, that we want to avoid that. So in the whole process of investigate, analyze, and quote, I'm taking a bite right out of the middle on the analyze. If you could bring up my slide. And so we've gathered some data, or we've gotten data from the Air Advice, and what do you do with it? It's like, you know, we have these numbers, and there's other data we need to gather too. I mean, I always have my guys, when they go in, I want a system perform. There's also some building science information that we need to gather, as like possibly a blower, and looking at infiltration rates. But you have all these numbers, and you need to go. If you have high particulates in your house, a UV light is not going to be the answer. So what we need to do is make sure that we are taking at what it's telling us and follow where it's our filtration. Maybe we want to look at our building pressures and tie those two together, because all the filtration in the world is great, but if our infiltration is greater, it's going to be a wash. So it's important to really look at the data. If we have high carbon dioxide, that will point us, one, we always want to look at source. So if we can do source control, that's great. But what can we do to offset that? And if we're looking at high carbon dioxide, identify the source, and that's probably going to tell us that maybe we ought to look for dilution as a source. I mean, answer to the problem, and that would be bringing outside air, fresh air in to dilute and or change building pressures to take care of that type of problem. Obviously, if you have carbon monoxide, that's going to put off some red lights. That would take you to look at your combustion products within the home, your combustion air zone. So that's going to point you in that direction. So you follow the data, analyze it, that's going to point you in that direction. And you need to have a look at your combustion appliances. Are they venting properly? Do we have clean burns in our combustion appliances? And again, that could point to building pressures. If we've got a structure that's slightly negative in building pressure and we're causing certain appliances to backdraft, that's gonna point you right there, and you could take care of that problem. I've been taking a lot of calls, and people are wanting to know, well, hey, what do we do? What do we do? So I always go back to the four main points. It's thermal comfort, it is filtration, control humidity, and outside air. Those are the key points that we look for when we're trying to create clean, healthy, and comfortable environments. Jeffrey May, in his book, My House is Killing Me, says that the HVAC industry has a huge responsibility, as in all the air we breathe in a building or a home at one point goes through an HVAC system. So we're tempering the air, removing humidity, we're able to filter the air as well. During this whole process of analyzing the data, you have to connect that with the customer. So you need to walk them through it, need to help them decide what is in their best interest, meaning are we offering solutions that are going to take care of what they're feeling in the house, whether they've got children with asthma, or it's just allergies or immune compromises, respiratory compromises. We need to make sure that our solutions are going to take care of their problems, and advise them about the mechanical part of it. Is the equipment old? Are we looking at replacing it before there's an emergency? A big one is, can the existing system support good filtration? A lot of times what I'm finding is that the ductwork is undersized, equipment is oversized, under-delivered, and to slap a good filter in place, things are going to go the wrong direction. We want to follow up, make recommendations on maintenance agreements to all your customers, ask for referrals. So one of the biggest things that we can do is, we have data, but you need to sit and listen and talk to your customers. A sit-down interview is going to be just as valuable as gathering data. Next slide. So performance by design, using building science tools and technologies like AirAdvice. I use a lot of handheld devices as well. Best practices, and the whole house is a system approach. You'll be able to test, design, implement safe, healthy, efficient, and comfortable environments for your clients. That's all I got for today. So I am going to hand it over to Jonathan Kramer.
Hey everyone, my name is Jonathan Kramer, and I'm the Clean Comfort Product Manager. And I'm going to talk to you today about our Clean Comfort offering. One thing that I want to just kind of address real quick is, some of you may have, we kind of talked about Clean Comfort at the very beginning, but Clean Comfort is Goodman and Amana's IAQ solution. We like to call it your indoor air essentials, that these are essential to your system, your home, the air you breathe. And one of the things that we like to say is, the name Clean Comfort really kind of came from, we had a Goodman and Amana IAQ solutions at one point, and we were getting stuff with the Goodman color being the Amana being the Goodman color. So what we did is, we just decided that we were going to name it Clean Comfort so it could work for all of our platforms. So that's the name, and where it really came about. Inside of Clean Comfort, we have 6 families. We call them food groups, and you'll see them on the left-hand side. We have icons for them, but today we're going to step through very high levels, because we figured out how we can analyze the issues in the home, talk about what that data means, and now what we're going to show is just the products that we offer and solutions for that. So we have filtration, humidification, dehumidification, purification, ventilation, and zoning, and this will be a real high level, but I hope that this kind of teases you to look into this more. And we have a website, www.cleancomfort.com, which will get more in depth if you want to look into that. So one of the industries right now, or families that are really blowing up is our filtration group. So with filtration, we have one of our media air cleaners that we offer up is the CleanFit version. So there are 7 cabinet sizes. They're all common filters. And one thing that's really cool about these is that blue sticker that you see on all of them that say Clean Comfort, they actually get mailed in a Ziploc bag with the installation manual. So that being said, you can put the Clean Comfort logo on there if you wish when you install it, but we also encourage dealers or contractors to really think about putting their own brand on there. So it could be Jonathan Kramer's HVAC controls. And that way, when the homeowner walks up to the attic and sees that it needs a replacement filter, they look and they see that with my number, and they call me instead of calling Clean Comfort, because we don't sell directly online. Again, in our filtration series, we have the Clean Fit, which is like our premium, all painted, coated. But we also have a builder's model. The builder's model has a front that looks really nice. But it's not fully painted on the side, so it's a little bit of a economy version of it, but it's the same filtration. It's just the design of the actual container. We also have right angle and perfect platform options as well. We have two sizes for the right angle. We have a 2025 and a 1625 coming out this year. And then our perfect platforms have been out for a while, but these are really, really nice on certain installs where you're limited to the capabilities of the attic or basement or closet that you're in. We also are offering up something that we can, differentiate ourselves between Amazon, Honeywell, and all of them that are really kind of going for sales for a homeowner could just go out and buy it without going through the contractor directly. And one of the ways we thought we could do that best is adding a MERV 13 charcoal. So what this does is it's a direct replacement for everything you just saw. So the ones that I just showed are all MERV 11 standard, but they can be easily upgraded to a MERV 13 charcoal. So that same size is pulled out, and you can put this one in, and now you're getting the charcoal version of the AMP. We also offer up a furnace riser, which is pretty much standard and mandatory if you're using 4 to 5 ton units furnaces. The reason is your filter is only going to be as effective as the air is able to pull across that filter. So if the more airflow you're pulling across with the 4 or 5 tons, we need to have more access to that filter. So with our furnace risers, you can see there's a little opening on the bottom, but there's also the furnace opening. This allows the air to really drag across the filters, and these are painted the same color as our units, so it blends in perfectly and it looks really nice when it's paired up with the furnaces. We also have our HEPA units. We're seeing extreme growth, especially with what's going on right now. This is medical grade filtration that you can have access to at your home. We only offer up 2 right now. We have a 3-stage, which is the 300 GT, and we have a 250, which is actually a 5-stage, which has an added layer of purification element to the top. So the 3-stage, this is great. It can be mounted in the collar mounted, which is what you could see on the below it, but it can also be mounted on the ducts. Both of these can be mounted either way, and we're going to be offering up a 10-year parts warranty for both of them this year. So that's a big jump for us from the 5-year that we had last year. When it comes to purification, it's another group that's really getting big. So don't want to spend too much time on this diagram, but I think this diagram really kind of helps everyone really understand the differences between air and coil. So the air, what it does, it disinfects the air as it's coming from the system. So it's going to pass through the air purifier in the middle, and then it's going to go down. And one thing I want to notice, as you're following that down, you see that there's another box. That's a media air cleaner. And that's one thing to keep in mind when it comes to IQ, is this is not an a la carte solution. You can't just pick and choose which ones you want. To have a full IAQ solution, you need to have all the food groups that really come together and work together as a team for your home. It's a complete solution. So again, you're going to see a media air cleaner here as well. Now, on the far right, you'll see a UV light that's shining directly down that evaporator coil. So that is continuous disinfection to the coil, which the air is going to pass through the system as well. So you are treating the air. You're mainly treating the evaporator coil. So when it comes to, well, you guys got a lot of UV lights. I'm getting a little bit confused on what to use with which. So I kind of break it down for air handlers and furnaces. For the air handlers, we actually have a cutout in our air handlers for Goodman and Amana that allow you to slide directly in the UV light. So it's already pre-cut. But we have 2 options. We have a premium option, which is the UC36. Actually comes with 2 bulbs. So that's how you're getting your added power of purification. Magnitude of UV, and also has a parabolic reflector that shines. So what this reflector does is, as the UV light comes up, it's now being directed directly down on that evaporator coil. First is just being spread out and letting it just go all around in the cabinet. So there's nothing wrong with both of those options, obviously, because the 18S does not come with that. So it's a single bulb, and you just slide that in, and it comes with both a magnet base and non-magnet base to be mounted. Now let's look at the furnaces. So I see the picture, and I think a lot of people do the same thing I did when I first saw this. Is like, oh, one has the LCD, one doesn't, one's better than the other. These are actually the same exact product. The main reason why we have two versions is because we have a high temp version and a low temp version. So people, where I'm from in Houston, we put everything in the attic. If we had a UC36, that LCD display would not last very long in the high temperatures of our attic. So we'd actually use the high temp version. If you have a basement installation, you can use the UC36 as well. And that comes with some really cool features with the USB plug-in. You can actually put your dealer name, so it could be Jonathan Kramer's IOHV installs, and I could put my number. Now, when that bulb is counting down and it's time to be replaced, that screen will flash with my logo, Jonathan Kramer, and my number, so the homeowner calls me instead of calling Clean Comfort, and I get that renew, and I can come in and check in on the system and check to see if the maintenance is of everything else since I'm already out. Now let's look at the air purifier. So we only have two versions. Again, let's get away from the one versus the other for the different benefits. Really what we want to talk about here is the 4,000 and 2,000. What the 2,000 means, it means it can purify systems for up to 2,000 square feet. 4,000 means 4,000 square feet. So think of it that way. The 4,000 does come with a little bit nicer features. Again, it's got that bulb. It's gonna count down on the LCD display or the OLED screen, so you get to see it there. And again, you can type in your number and stuff to have them call you again. But that's for a 4,000 square foot home. Now, if you have a 4,000 square foot home, but you have two systems, and both systems satisfy up to 2,000, then you could get away with just having two 2,000s, not two 4,000, if that makes sense. Ventilation, I feel like this is going to get a huge benefit after we start moving into the shoulder seasons coming up. It's getting a lot of hype. If you're joining us from the Canadian market, you guys have regulations that all new home installs have to have ventilation, HRV or ERVs. We're seeing the markets really kind of respond to these. One of the cool things about these, if you can just think about it, is the R in both HRV and ERV. HRV stands for heat recovery ventilation, and the ERV stands for energy recovery ventilation. And not to nerd out too much, but if you look down at the bottom screen, you'll kind of see the center of that core. So fresh air comes from outside the home, it passes through that core, and then it goes inside the home. Bad air comes from the home, and then it's going to pass through and then go outside. What this is doing is it's allowing equal amount of outside air to come in and bad air to go outside air. So we can have ventilation naturally through cracks and windows of our house. We're building homes to be so tight. We're keeping our energy bills low with the heating and cooling, but we're trapping everything inside, which is great for energy, but it's not necessarily great if you're working out from home. Everyone's home right now. You have dogs, pets, allergies, candles, all this stuff that creates VOCs is now trapped inside the home, and we need a way to get it out because outside air dilutes the pollutants inside the home. And one way to really get an equal amount, the only way to do that is using a ventilator. Dehumidifiers, we only have 3. We try to keep it simple. We try to do the basic square footage of the homes, and also we try to keep our model numbers very basic. So DV70 is 70 pints per day. The DV98 is 98 pints, and 155 is 155 pints per day. The cool thing about this is if you are in the South, we need dehumidifiers like crazy. One thing is, if you have a portable, you can buy it at Walmart, Target. It's going to fill up, and once it fills up with water, it just shuts off unless you go and you empty it yourself, right? Well, a lot of times no one wants to do that. I personally had one for many years and I never emptied it either. But one thing about ours is it works with your HVAC system. So there's actually drains. So as that Humidifier is pulling air from, or moisture from the house. What it's going to do is it's going to dump it outside. And so those are the highlights of our dehumidification. So when it comes to humidification, you kind of have that same battle. We don't have enough, right? So people in the north, you guys have those winter nuisances of sore throats, maybe dry skin, nosebleeds, stuff like that can happen when you need moisture in the air. So with that being said, we have evaporative humidification, which basically is it brings water from a water line, heats up the inside of that pad so hot that it produces steam because water is dripping down that pad. So we have two versions. We have a 12, 17, and we have a fan power. The 12 and 17, 18 are gallons per day. So think of it that way, 12 gallons per day, 17 gallons per day, 18 gallons a day. Our premium steam is always going to be premium when it comes to humidification. It does really well. These are the top of the line units. Everything, all the logic is actually inside this cylinder that's replaceable. So if you look at this diagram, it is cash money. We have a water inlet and outlet. So this is going to get pulled water automatically inwards and outwards. Well, why is it going to go out? Well, the reason is that strainer that you see right there, it's going to monitor the minerals and the thickness and things inside of that strainer. If it gets to a point where things are getting out of control, the water, the hardness, and what it will do is actually drain. So it can self-drain and self-fill. It'll do this for multiple times, but eventually you're going to have to replace the cylinder. And when you replace the cylinder, as you can see right above the strainer, I have two arrows that point to electrodes. Those electrodes are in the cylinder, and that's what actually heats up the water to produce a steam through the steam outlet. So when you get a new cylinder, you're getting new electrodes, which means you're basically getting a brand new unit, and these come with a 5-year parts warranty. We're very excited to announce that we're going to be launching our new zoning bypassless clean comfort and control kits this month. We're extremely excited. They're going to come with 2, 3, and 6 zone panels. All the logic and how it's bypassless is going to be in the static pressure sensor, which is on the top right, kind of looks like a bulb. What you do is you basically set that to the static pressure that you do not want anything to exceed inside the system. So it's going to come set at 0.3 waters per column, but if you need to move it up, you can just simply turn it, super easy. But what it does is when you get 3 zones calling, for example, and you get one call from a 3-zone system. Now let's say that has a small zone room. So the static pressure inside that duct is now exceeding 0.5. What it's going to do is those other 2 non-calling zones, it's going to gradually open those 2 just to bleed out the excess static pressure. Now it's going to monitor that to make sure it maintains a 0.3. So if it were to go below 0.2, it would actually close those other 2 non-calling zones. So this is all driven by the panel. It's all artificial intelligence on that, so it's actually pretty nice. These work great with our ComfortBridge products. And how we're able to bleed out the different zones ever so slightly is because we actually have fully modulating dampers. They're going to be 3 wires, Belimo, and they're going to come in round and rectangular versions as well. We're going to offer up a 10-year warranty on the panel and a 5 years on the dampers. So that's my little pitch to you guys. I hope out our website, www.cleancomfort.com, and just a really quick high overview. We talked about filtration. We talked about the benefits of not shipping you guys a sticker. You can put your own sticker on there. We talked about the HEPAs, how it's medically grade, filtration that you can put in the home. We talked about humidification, keeping the whole home, satisfied by using stuff that can go in conjunction with your HVAC equipment. Same goes for dehumidification. It's all going to work with it. And purification, which is getting a huge spotlight right now for what's going on across the world. We have different options. I hope we've made it easier to understand the square footage versus even having ones that are air handler and furnace related. And then we talked about ventilation, which hopefully that's something that's new, or if not, it's exciting. We can talk about it more as the months go by, because we'll be picking up a lot of speed. And then we talked about how we're adding a zoning lineup to make us a complete family. So I appreciate everyone's time. And again, check out our website if you have any questions. Thank you.
All right, you guys, thank you so much. That is so much information. For me being a novice, I feel like I'm talking to my developer when he starts talking about HTML and jQuery and CSS and Python versus Ruby. And wow, you guys, this is kind of our challenge, right? As business owners, you guys have some competition here. You have giant big box retailers and you have the medical professionals who are tackling this industry. That being said, in order for you guys to compete in this world, we have to compete very different than every other service you have. Everything else you have is a service you're competing with other service providers. So you have the ability to utilize your website and content and digital marketing to go after something like AC repair in my city, and you're able to compete. In this environment, this is different. This is a product-based search. You guys, in this environment, essentially, we have to be able to reach human beings looking for solutions to problems. And you're not going to be able to take the same traditional path, marketing a product on the internet and competing with 6- and 7-figure budgets. So this right now, particular set of products and solutions, we have to be very creative. In fact, your website technically is just a focal point to connect. It's your secondary salesperson. It's the thing that you can create to connect with the human who has those problems and issues and needs that you've been talking about. But in order to get them here, you guys are going to have a movement. You're going to have to connect with a specific audience who can connect with the air you breathe. In every one of these technical presentations, you heard a message about the air you breathe and that it matters. We spend 90% of our time indoors. So on your website, this page that you create and develop over time, when you first launch it, it may look like an SEO page with some bare content and a little bit of products and quite frankly, not connect with any human beings that are not a subject matter expert. Most IAQ pages connect with other HVAC companies, other subject matter experts. We need the page to connect with the human. You're going to have to use marketing automation strategies called movement campaigns to be able to drive human beings with a brain and a heart and a soul to your page. We're going to have to use a combination of social media and mail and text and email in order to drive people to this page, because from a search engine standpoint, we can't connect the same way. So here, when they get here, we have all these other marketing things that are driving people to this page. Let's connect with them. So first, how do we connect immediately to a fact? The fact is we spend 90% of our time indoors. Introduce a movement, the air you breathe. Take the air you breathe quiz. Connect with them instantaneously and get them to start engaging in things that are relative to their life right out of the gate. From here, start connecting to things in their surroundings. If you're in Washington State and Oregon and California, fires are a big deal. If you're in Florida or the Gulf or Texas, then floods might be a big deal. Pollen, all over the place, right? There's all of these different elements, including home renovation. Each one of these things are going to further connect the human heart and mind to a solution. It's going to create and help connect the solutions you have to the need that they have, the real life relevant need. Next, introduce who this makes sense for. Plant your seeds, and you may choose an audience or segment an audience differently than what I have here as an example, but we need to identify with a group of people who are most likely to care about this. For example, this particular niche, we notice that health conscientious families tend to be most interested in getting educated, concerned, and being proactive about the air we breathe. It's part of a bigger, more comprehensive view of their family's health and safety. They are part of the Air We Breathe movement. Are you? Then start to introduce something that's going to further connect a human soul to a small business. The movement is bigger than just the air we breathe. It's the air we breathe. Shop local, small business. Move over to, we have solutions. Dive into some history, a little bit of information such as the IAQ map, which identifies the highest pollutant areas where air quality is an issue and the impact. It's from the CDC, so this is a reputable source. You're quoting something that matters, that they're familiar with. Next, make sure you let them know you are a local clean air and online store, not I'm a local IAQ company with products that can help you, right? While every situation is a little different, our goal is to give customers the products they're looking for and complete transparency in products and pricing. Thank you so much for shopping with our local business. We know you have options, and we greatly appreciate you for choosing our team to take care of your family. Connect at a deeper level. Again, we care about the air we breathe, the air you breathe. Shop local, small business. High efficiency systems don't help improve the air. Go through the home and explain the differences in each area. Again, reconnect with the consumer and get them to engage. Launch the assessment. As we continue to move down the page, there are things we can do right now to enhance the air you breathe and benefit health, well-being, productivity. Check out our solutions. And by now, if that doesn't work, ask them a single question. How important is the air you breathe to you? And through an integrated online chat, you can have more of a connected experience by embedding your own chat inside your website that is specific and relevant to this particular page and conversation. Not the chat that says, hi, we're here to help. Do you want a quote? Do you want to leave a review? Do you want to talk to customer service? That's generic in nature, but literally connect to them. We greatly appreciate your referrals. Share this with someone you love, with connections to be able to easily share on Facebook or Twitter or anything else. And then again, reintroduce the solutions. There is a difference between information that is valuable and products and solutions. Sometimes those pages are too interconnected and there's no difference. So we lose the connection to humans because we're simply focused on products. Once you have their interest, now you have the ability to connect at a different level, to show that you make it easy. They are shopping with the local business. They can easily choose a solution such as having filters show up on AutoShip, but getting a discount for adding auto delivery. Be safe from not having to go to a local store. Each one of these things that you do on your website is going to help you get closer to where you want to be or pull you further from where you want to be. We have to remember sometimes ourselves and how sharp we are as subject matter experts in our own area are the exact reason why we're not successful at certain things. So we have to step out of ourselves and allow a customer to make that call. With that, if you need help, let us know.
Oh my goodness. Jennifer, you're absolutely amazing. So I love CI Web. I love that you said start a movement because truly is a culture. And I love the fact that, you know, we started, it's more than just IAQ, but it's investigate, analyze, and quote. I really liked how Jeff used a phrase that said data-driven earned conversation. So that was a lot of fun. But you know what? So Erica and I really quickly are going to talk about how can we tee that up so that we can have that conversation with that homeowner, and it's not just goofy, we're setting up equipment, or that we haven't prepped that customer to have that conversation. So prepping the call is really important, and it starts with your call handling team, your CSRs, right? To be able to prep that service professional to get out there and have that conversation and ask questions like, hey, how important is the air that you breathe to you, right? So Erica, would you like to show some of these questions?
Yes, so I love to just give people the prompts so that it can lead into the conversation. So whenever you have customers call you for service, sales, maintenance, you're going to go through that process. And then we want to make sure that it's easy for you to talk about an IAQ product. Now, once again, going into this idea that we need to figure out what's going on before we just offer any kind of product to people, here are 3 questions that would be a great way to lead into a further conversation. So if I was going to say, hey, Stephen, when was the last time you had an indoor air quality test in your home?
What's that?
Exactly. That's probably what the majority of customers are going to say. Oh, I didn't even know that that was such a thing. So if then I'm going to say, oh my gosh, well, we have the super duper awesome, amazing stuff that we can do for you to check on that clean air in your home. So then you can go into all the different kind of questions, and we're going to give you guys a script for that. So it'll be easy for you to go through the call flow there. But leading into a further conversation of asking certain questions, and I know that John Ellis talked about this a couple of weeks ago, in his presentation of what to look for, talking about the allergies, the asthma, does anyone have headaches or fatigue, any pets? Like, there's a lot of different questions that we could go into with our customers. But we just have to ask that initial question. When was the last time you've had this? Or have you ever thought about having your home tested for clean air? Majority of people are going to say no, and you're like, oh my gosh, well, this would be a great opportunity to talk to you about a couple of things we're going to do. Do you guys experience anything? The next thing that you have to do is, after you have this conversation, you need to make sure that it is documented, that you took some very good notes. So you don't want to just have a conversation over the phone that's, oh, that was so fun. Okay, bye. You don't document anything. And then your technician gets out there and then they ask the exact same questions. How many times have we had to call in for customer service help and we repeated ourselves 17 times and nobody took the time to take notes or listen or have that smooth communication between each other? That's not the experience you want to provide. So take some really good notes, document everything about these conversations, and make sure your technicians read those notes so that he is prepped and ready to go when he's out in that home. And he's like, hey, you had a great conversation with Erica about this product or about some of the things that we're doing here. I would love to work with you more on that. So make sure that everybody is on the same page there and that you can work with each other. And if you want the full script, it's so easy to get. You text power to that number. It's going to send you a link and it's right there on the page. So all you have to do is just go to that page and you can have the entire script.
Yeah, the script is great because it has a lot of different questions and things that you can ask. And again, it's not for us to necessarily diagnose over the phone, but it is truly to set up that service professional so that they can have what Jeff calls a data-driven earned conversation. I love that, by the way. So very good. Thank you, guys. You guys are awesome. If you want the script, text power and you got it. Tom Whitman, my man.
Thank you, guys. Stephen, Erica, you guys rock. Okay, problem solution. Presentation is everything, isn't it? Let's go to the next slide, Ben, real quickly. Hey, we have a special on air purifiers today. You want one? Sadly, that's how most of technicians and even some salespeople are coached to push products on consumers. But, it's not about pushing less about moving products on consumers, more about solving problems, okay? So the processes that have been laid out is absolutely true. Step number 1, test. You know what? You take that air advice, plug it in for within 30 minutes. Go to the next slide there, Ben. Within 30 minutes, you are going to get on your iPad, on your email, a full diagnostic of the air quality in there within 30 minutes. Now check it out. If you're doing a tune-up or a maintenance agreement with a tune-up, 30 minutes isn't very much time, right? So that technician can drop that air monitor on the dining room counter, and they can plug it in. By the time they're finished with the tune-up, you have something to show the customer. Next slide, please. And then if we can tie products back into it, how it solved those problems, that's an awesome presentation. What do? We tested the house. We evidenced issues. Once we evidence issues, you can ask a few questions. Well, gosh, do you notice any, allergies, hay fever, asthma, or respiratory issues? Yes, well, this might be the cause. Got a few things that we may be able to put together for you. Okay, and a nice presentation. I know I went through this pretty quickly, but here's a couple of tips. Knowledge builds confidence. Confidence inspires trust. You have to know your stuff. Moreover, we need to be able to translate the technology language into normal words that your consumer understands and can and easily anchor solutions to the symptoms and the problems that we're having. Given the amount of time, that's my advice right now. Number one, study, okay? And confidence builds trust. We're thrilled to announce a brand new business venture that's going to help you guys a lot. Okay, what you're looking at, imagine if we can tune up your website to generate leads, and those leads generated from the internet come to a virtual selling department for you. That's exactly what we're doing. That lead will come to us. We will close those leads and deliver replacement sales to you and your organization. That's a simple version of it. 3 different standards. CI Web Group on the front end is helping with that. I've got a team of very skilled salespeople that get help with closing those sales. And Matt Plugoff, what was it you were going to offer in here?
Hey guys, thanks for your time today. So this is the deal. This partnership is super cool. And in any situation, any company on this call has basically 2 things to sell. You've got the products and you've got your company. As a way to help you ramp up your company story, sharpen your brand, and make it absolutely in line with what people are looking for today, the added benefit to you guys is this. For a fee of $979, we're offering you a full day of brand consultation, including a comprehensive start-to-finish workbook. But here's the deal. Right now, for the first 25 people that sign up for this service, you receive 25% off of that fee. So we're calling it the 25 for 25 special. The first 25 receive 25% off of the branding workshop. Trust me, you'll walk out of it better prepared to communicate what you stand for to the people that matter. So I'm thrilled to be part of the partnership.
Awesome. Thrilled to have you, man. That's fantastic. So reserve your spot. We're looking for 25 companies right now to beta test this. For that, you get this offer plus another discount on that. So text coach 713-856-1853 for more information, and I'll give you a call and explain the details. Thank you, Ben. I'll go ahead and pass it on to our financing team.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom. Obviously, I'm not Matthew Bratsis. My name is Eric Goody. I'm with EGIA, and we're going to switch gears here real quick and talk about cars. See what I did there? Switching gears, talking about cars. When you guys buy a car, when everybody buys a car, they want options. Nobody just wants the base model. You know, you got to have some tunes. You want your radio in there. You know, you got to have a nice sound system. You know, you want some nice rims. You want wheels. Everybody wants nice wheels. Look at that. You got to have decent wheels. You got to have sunroof. If we're talking about indoor air quality, you got to open that thing and let the sunshine and the air in. You know, and of course your Corinthian leather seats, as Ricardo Montalban used to say. If you're like me, you want a nicer engine. You don't want some little wimpy 4-cylinder. There you go. You want to buy a car with a nice engine like this. Now, what does this have to do with, HVAC? Obviously, we want to build platinum packages. We want to offer those extra ancillary products that are not only probable, but as everybody says, Jennifer was talking about it, Erica was talking about it, you have to ask. If customers need these things, they probably don't even know they exist. So you build this package and you have your, you got your prices. You can see, Jonathan went over there. You got your HRV, ERVs, 2,500. You got a dehumidifier. If you're listening to this broadcast, if you're watching this broadcast, you're probably in a place where they have humidity. It's about 2/3 of the country. You need some dehumidifiers. Your 10-year parts and labor. You got extra warranties. If you were on last week and managed to stay awake through Matthew's presentation and talk about maintenance packages and how important they are to your business, $1,500. All that comes to $6,600. If you're not using financing, if you're just taking credit cards, if you're out there and you're still doing cash business, how do you approach this for $6,600? Well, you really can't. The only way to do that is with financing. And financing makes it very easy. You go to, Tom Whitman has a fantastic good, better, best program. It's wonderful. you get one of those selling tools of that nature, and it enables you to do a good, better, best. And Ben, if you want to go to the next slide. So here's how you do it. You always lead. You don't tell them it's going to be $6,600. You're going to tell them that you're going to get them a 16 Sears two-stage condenser, a 96% efficient variable speed gas furnace. It's going to come with a 10-year unit replacement warranty that's standard. You're going to tell them it's going to come with a 10-year extended parts and labor warranty, 10 years of annual maintenance. That's really, really important to your business. Very important. Well, other than your good name, which gives you, it has value to it, but your really intrinsic value is going to be on your maintenance plans. Then, as we talked about, you're going to add an HRV, ERV ventilation system and a dehumidifier. All of that for $159 a month, and that's how you approach this. Without this, it would be about $129, $130. So for another $29, $30 at the most, you can have fantastic air. You can have this platinum package that helps you if as they talked about before. You've already discussed them. They might have allergies. They could have indoor air quality problems. So there you go. You offer that as financing. You cannot offer that $6,600 as a standalone if you're just doing cash deals or even credit card deals. This way, you're going to be very, very, much more profitable. If you have any questions about this, if you're a dealer out there and you're not doing financing, please, if you're on the eastern side of the country, call Mike, call me, or call Matthew. Call any of us and we'll get you in touch. But we need to have your financing so you can increase your profits. Okay? Thank you very much. Matthew?
Hi, everybody. Again, good morning. What's up? Hope you're all safe and well. I have just a couple of very, very basic points to make. And we've heard a tremendous amount of information, all awesome, super, super sharp. So the question I was asked to address is, how does IAQ fit into my brand strategy? And to me, this is really simple. Ben, if you'll go forward, please. Thank you. The overarching lesson is this: people don't buy products, they buy how products make them feel. And one of the reasons that historically we have, as an industry, kind of had a hard time cracking this Gordian knot unless we had some kind of drastic environmental situation going on around us, case in point, is that we have typically approached the sales and the branding process from our point of view, not from the output point of view. And as a result of that, we find ourselves immensely bogged down in information that is fantastic and it's credible and scientifically proven. But for a person who has never experienced this product, it remains extremely obtuse. If you're a salesperson on this call, if you're a business owner on this call, I think this is one of the most important lessons that anybody who is in this profession can take away from this. What matters is how our products make people feel, not necessarily the products themselves. The products themselves are perfect. They're well designed. They're well engineered. But how do you translate the output? How do you translate the emotional output? People buy what you bring their attention to. Starting point right there. People are much more inclined to pay attention to and have a nascent interest that becomes a burgeoning interest, that becomes a full-blown interest in something like filtration, if you constantly direct their attention to it. The Air You Breathe hashtag is a perfect example of that because of its massive scalability. And if you want people to get interested in filters, you have to bake that into every touch point in the sales cycle, in the lead generation cycle, in the post-sale, the post-transaction cycle. People buy what you bring their attention to. It is the reason that as we approach Father's Day, Home Depot is going to have drills and saws and all sorts of cool stuff on the end cap of every single aisle of their store. And on Mother's Day, the grocery stores have flowers and sweets and balloons and all sorts of other beautiful things in plain view. If you want someone to be interested in something, you simply have to put it in front of them enough times. We're not that hard to persuade. And a catchy hashtag doesn't hurt either. So one, they have to see it. Second, they have to identify with it, right? Additionally, Causality makes a huge impact on whether or not a person has an interest or not. And causality is your ability to communicate what life is like before and after living with something that they have never lived with before. Anybody who's ever made a purchasing decision because they're looking for a better quality of life based on where they currently stand knows what that feels like. It's easy to bring people to filters for a sense of egoism, right? If you communicate to them that these are smart decisions, that these are responsible, that these are prudent, that these are caring decisions, you have to attach a sense of aspiration, right? Personal ego and aspiration to products. It's also important, and it's a great selling tactic, to make the normal seem extremely mundane or behind the times. If you contrast two heating cooling systems, one with a filter, one without, and the filter that is viewed as without the filter is seen as yesterday's news, then you have a much greater likelihood of saying, this is the next better version of what we can do. And once again, I think the hashtag is super appropriate. You know, in all, a product like a filter is an aspirational product, and it's not a necessity. It's an aspirational product. And as such, you have to position it in that manner. You have to get it before them, communicate causality, make them feel good about themselves, make a system without a filter seem like an outdated notion, and a system with a filter to seem like the next best thing. And it's definitely systemic, and it definitely weaves in and out of the entire branding process. So thanks a lot. And once again, Tom, thank you for including me in your new initiative. I'm excited to contribute, and I hope that you guys will get behind this. It's a cool thing.
Thank you so much, Matt, and everybody on the call today. Lots of great information. This is a jam-packed session. I will remind everybody that this is recorded. So if you want to go back and review any of the information, please go ahead and do so. The texts are always live. So if you want to get in touch with one of our coaches, please do that. Or you can go to the Goodman Business Toolbox or Amana Brand Business Academy and use the Ask a Coach feature that we have there. And, you know, as we end this, I think you can see where technology really can take us. We have so many tools available to us today that we did not have available, 10, 15 years ago. So continue to embrace technology. Look at that change and how that can help your business go on, where your old part of your business dies and the new part of your business, if you will, is reborn, and you go out and create the new things that it is that you're looking to create. And continue to thank and encourage your people. This is the lifeblood of any organization that's out there. And we don't want to take for granted all of the contributions that your team makes to the success that you have in your business. Thank you, everyone. Be safe and stay healthy. And we will see you guys all next week on our call.